Oh yes, come on then. G'day everybody and welcome back to Hayes Homestead. Now I just want to bring you up to speed because although nothing has really happened on the homestead since my last video, stuff has happened. Although I don't consider it particularly interesting viewing content because it's actually just necessity of homestead life is that these jobs have to get done at some point within the year. So let me bring you up to speed so then we can actually get on with the more interesting stuff. The juicy bits, the bits that everyone enjoys, like the renovations, the work and stuff. So let's just crack on with it. The aviaries that are opposite our bedroom are going. Well, I mean, at least the big one. I'm going to try and convince him to take this little one. But yeah, we're going to dismantle it. He was looking for an aviary. I said, I've got one. You can have it for free if you help me take it apart. And that's what we're doing. We're going to take it apart. Oh, bloody spoilers. We're going to take it apart and he's going to take it away. Or even I'll deliver it to his house. I don't care. Just as long as it's gone and it's away from my bedroom window and I'll have a lovely view again. It's going to be good. So the aviary came and got picked up. Unfortunately, didn't take this one, not the end of the world. Worst case, I just scrap it or put it up on Facebook. Anyway, on to the next job. Never ends, but I love it. I do love it. So this is the grader and ripper, and actually I need to assemble this and get it out of its box. So we're going to collect the tines on the front of the tractor and just lift the whole pallet and take it off to the workshop, cut this thing loose, set it up, and then we can put it back in here. Easy.
When I was young, my daddy said, gotta keep one eye open in your bed, 'cause there's a time coming when the devil gonna come for you. So my trigger finger, stay prepared. I've got my weapon and I got my prayers, 'cause if you don't run this town, they'll walk all over you. Run now, Lord, gotta run on. Keep on running till the sun goes down. Run now, Lord, better run on. Run all day till you can't be found. Run now, Lord, gotta run on. Keep on running till the sun goes down. You can outrun the devil, but you ain't gonna outrun me. You ain't gonna outrun me.
Okay, well, no instructions, but I mean, it's not hard to figure it out. So this bit here, well, that's got to be my hitch. That will probably go through those holes there, and then the round plate on that. We'll go in the round plate on this, and everything else will go in between. Just figure it out. Why not? Now I will say this, if you have a tractor or if you help someone with a tractor, you will know that everything to do with the tractor is extremely heavy, no matter what it is, even the smallest part, very heavy. So doing this by yourself is quite difficult, but there's no one else, so we don't really have much choice. Let's just do it.
Gotta run on, keep on running till the sun goes down. Run out loud, better run on. Run all day till you can't be found. Run out loud, gotta run on. Keep on running till the sun goes down. You can outrun the devil, but you ain't gonna outrun me. You ain't gonna outrun me. You ain't gonna, yeah. You ain't gonna outrun me. Yeah. Oh, you better run. Oh, yeah, I say you better run, boy. Oh, you better run. Oh, yeah, I say you better run, boy.
You remember when I said this in the last episode, and then that should be all the leaks plugged, hopefully? Who knows? Yeah, well, that statement aged like an iced coffee in your car when you've gone on holiday. So yesterday was 33 degrees and today is a top of 20, and at the moment it's only 17 degrees. It's actually a really nice cool change because it was quite hot and sweaty for a few days there. I figured, seeing as it was a bit cooler and not as sunny, I would use the pressure washer to wash out the gutters because they actually really need doing. I haven't done them yet this year, so it's probably an important thing, especially if we're going to have a hot summer. You don't want embers getting in your gutters that are full of crap. It's bad news. Anyway, we just have to get on with it, so let's go. So I have this spare pump that I'm using to basically run the pressure washer off the spare tank that you can see behind me here. I have cam lock fittings on a lot of things because I find it's much quicker to put things on and off, especially if you're in a hurry. So my firefighting pump, that also has a cam lock on the hose, so if I need to get it on very quick, it just goes straight on.
I might see you again. Hold me down and watch the water rise. Pull me out and bring me back into this life. 'Cause I'm ready for a forest fire. Forest fire. I'm needing a forest fire. Forest fire. Mountain lines in the distant view. Clouds of smoke and all the sky has turned from blue. It's passing down and sunset. Roses on the hills to a vacuum. 'Cause I'm ready for a forest fire. Forest fire. I need forest fire, forest fire. I'm walking in the forest.
Once this gets firing, it will be warm enough to dry it out, so not worried about that. This, however, something of my own invention. The wind's coming from that way, as is the rain, so I mean, I'm just doing what I can, low budget and all that, you know? So now you've seen the nitty-gritty and the reality of running a homestead. Yes, some of the jobs are a little bit time-consuming and laborious, but they are necessary as a homestead owner, because you've really got to stay on top of these things when it comes to things like fire safety, or even just the structural integrity of your building and making sure that things don't fall on it. So now we are all caught up, let's get on with the good stuff. And by good stuff I mean the renovating, because that's pretty much why people watch these channels, isn't it? They like to see the transformations taking place. So let's go and get started on our next renovation. As mentioned before, we are renovating the office because it's not a very big room, and hopefully it shouldn't take us very long to do this job. But I mean, these things never go to plan, do they? But here is me from 2 days ago explaining the layout and how we intend to renovate the office. So, over to him. Okay, so try and imagine this green line here is the desk height, hence why I'm in the chair, to make sure that I could get the chair close enough to the desk so I wasn't either down here, up here, or reaching far away because my chair just doesn't get close enough to the desk. Everything's measured out. I've got it all measured on a piece of paper too. I'm not very good at CAD programs, so unfortunately I don't really have a CAD drawing to show you. I'm a bit old school in that fashion. I used Polycam to measure the room and whatnot, but I still need to learn the program that goes with it that helps you design the space. So for future projects, that should hopefully be on the card, so you guys have a visual representation of what the room would potentially look like if the house doesn't fall apart and I don't lose my rag. So a little while ago I did have an electrician here to run plugs in this wall and the wall opposite where we're going to have the desks. This was because there was only one plug in the room, which is the one under the windows. I mean, hat goes off to him, great guy, and he does a lot of my electrics now. He came, crawled underneath the floor space and put in these two sockets for me, which is exactly what we needed to do before we could start pulling everything off, because I really need those sockets to be able to power the laptop and the monitors. Light switches, on the other hand, well, that's a different story. Replacing a light switch is as simple as taking the 3 wires out of the existing one and putting them back in the exact same holes on the new switch. It is very simple. Okay, so now we're all caught up and we know where all of the furniture is intended to go, shelves, etc. We can now start with the next job, which is the demolition. We have to rip all this gyprock off, run our cables, insulate, and then put the gyprock back on. So, we're just going to have to crack on with it. the gyprock off the walls, and as promised, no insulation, but I mean, that's pretty much why we're doing this job. Otherwise, I probably would have just painted over it. Really, this is a good thing because it's going to help with keeping the house warm or cold, whichever season it is. So now that everything is cleaned, we've got rid of all the nails and we've gotten rid of all the dust, cleaned it right back. Now it's time for the fun stuff. I mean, demo is pretty fun, but this is the good bit. This is the bit where we build it back up again. So it's time to get going because I'm gonna have to go and get my tires changed very soon, and that's probably gonna take a little while, they said. So we'll try and get as much done as possible. So when you start putting gyprock on, generally you will put a little shim, a little packer underneath the first sheet that's on the floor to stop it from being in contact with the ground. Should any water get into the room, it won't wick up your boards and create a mold problem later on. Now they put their sheets on and then later installed the timber flooring. This timber floor is about 22mm thick and there is a recess behind it where the old gyprock used to sit. So I don't particularly want to shim my gyprock up too high, and I think adding an extra 10mm on top of the 22mm that is the floor might give me a bit of a problem when I put the second sheet up. Might have to start trimming like tiny thin strips off the top of each sheet just so I can make sure it doesn't interfere with the timber frame that's across the top of the room. So I'm going to use just some window packers just to lift it slightly, so then should any water come into the room, there's absolutely no danger of it contacting the plasterboard, and it will just run down behind the flooring and not up my wall. You know what they say? If it's nice and plumb, it'll get the job done. So now we just got to fit the top layer, which will be much easier because the wires are easy to pull through, no sockets. We're on a roll. So there's one job left to do, and that is to run the new wires for the light switch. Unfortunately, this particular type of setup, which is looped at the light, is not appropriate for the switches that we want to use, which are smart switches. So we need it looped at the switch. Not a big drama. I just didn't have the cable to be able to complete this job, but I did get some in the city yesterday. So now we can just crack on with it, get the insulation in, last sheet on, let's joint this up, get it ready for painting. It was in that moment that I realised that I hadn't labelled which wire was my loop, so bust out the multimeter, check for continuity so I know which is which, and I label them up so I know which one to wire in where. Let's not break it. So to do this job, we need 1/2 really simple bits of equipment. So you're going to need a mitre box. So this cornice mitre box has some steps in it. As you can see there, the steps are for the 55, the 75 and the 90 cornice, and it holds the cornice at the correct angle. So when you cut your 45 in it, it's actually going to have the right cut on your cornice to make sure that the sides join up basically nice and flush. So as you can see there, holds it up right at the correct angle, and you can cut it with just a house saw, like a regular saw like this. Legend has it, the rustier the better, I don't know. But you need something with a little bit of length on it because it's actually quite a distance across the box. The last bit of advice I will give you is that when you are cutting your mitres, you need to make sure you're cutting the right 45. Cut the wrong 45 and you will end up with an external corner. This is for going around the outside of pillars and things of this nature, not through the corner of rooms. We want them the other way round. So you have to make sure that your mitres are cut correctly. So when your cornice is joined in the corner, it's going to sit facing the correct way. This is important because if you do cut it to the wrong mitre, you're going to have sticks that are then just too short, and you'll end up with more joints than you had planned to. It's all a learning curve, don't worry about it. They're not mistakes, they're just lessons. So if you make a mistake, that's okay. You'll know for the next room and you'll pay closer attention. So it's all good. Let's get going. Okay, so we've cut all of our cornice. Now it's time to mix our cornice cement. So I cut everything first purely because this stuff does go off pretty quickly. It says it has an hour tops work time, but it's quite warm today. I'd say 45 would even be pushing it. Not a big drama anyway, because we've cut all of our cornice. We're ready to go. So once we mix this up, it's just a simple case of sticking it up and hoping that it stays. What could go wrong? Oh man, I shouldn't say that. Okay, so if my t-shirt didn't give you a big enough clue, today is
Gotcha!
So I didn't film it because, I mean, this is the first time I've ever done this coving, and by yourself it's incredibly difficult because the long lengths tend to flap around. You don't want to snap it. So rather than film it and have you guys have a good giggle at watching me mess this up, it's gone up It's okay, but hey, I can polish that turd. The edges aren't going to be the finished result anyway. We're going to dress it with this really nice ornate timber. We're going to paint it up. It's going to look lovely. Going to let this set. I'm going to go and have an ice cold drink and a sit down because yeah, I am absolutely bushed. Yeah, just not the floor, that's all.